a mini vacation, just a quick getaway. Um, we had fun. We just got back, earlier today, but as you probably know, we enjoy playing pickleball, and we have some friends that we play with that are in the business with us. They're customers, they're consultants, but mainly customers in the business. But they a few months back asked us to go to a professional um I guess it's tournament. I'm not sure exactly what they're calling it, but it's the league, the professional league of pickleball, and it was in St. Louis. So I thought we would get a little cooler when we left Florida to go to St. Louis, but I was wrong. It was worse in St. Louis temperature-wise than it was in Florida. So, but man, I'll tell you, and we do play a lot of pickleball, but watching these pros play, what an appreciation for hand-eye coordination and the speed in which they do things. It was I didn't think I would enjoy watching as much as I do playing because you always rather play than watch, but man, these people are so good. There's a team there from Dallas, Allie. There's a pro team in Dallas. I see you there, you know. There was a Chicago team there. It's a pro team. There was a New York team there. St. Louis was hosting. They're pros too, and Columbus, Ohio. It was good. It was good, and I will actually do it again. I wasn't sure if I would or not, but um, boy, it was fun. So anyway, we just got back, and it's funny. We are in the dead of summer. Okay, we're there. It's middle going into the end of July, and college is out, regular school is out. It's vacation time, and yet April and I signed up 5 consultants this week. So people are looking to do something no matter what time of year it is. And the one thing I can tell you, yes, people get busy with their personal stuff in the summer, but they're also more open-minded because they're probably on vacation or using some of their personal days from whatever it is they do for a living, and the guard is down a little bit, and you can have a more reasonable conversation with people without them always worrying about work the next day, and going to work the next day. Hey Archie, I just saw you there. Congrats on your first customer. I sent you a text. Good to see you. But we are really, April and I just, decided this year, this summer, this July, August, September, that we want to break our own personal recruiting record for most people signed up in a 90-day window. And that's how we're planning on getting most of our points for the trip. That's the way we're planning on doing it. So anyway, we got a few different things we want to cover tonight. As we always do in the end, we'll open back up for any questions or comments. But I know April's got some training for us for starters. So April, I'm just gonna give it to you.
Yeah, how's everybody doing? Good Sunday? Good. Well, I'm excited you're here. I know a lot of people are on vacation this week. I would have thought it was like the 4th, but I know a lot of people are still out. I do have a training, and some of you will know some of this, some of you won't know some of this, but I think it speaks to, why we do the Sunday call. I don't know if you've ever wondered. I know a lot of teams do theirs on Monday. Bobby and I have always been a person to plan out our week, and a lot of times we'll take that time on a Sunday evening to plan out what we're going to do on our week. And I'm just going to highlight some things that, the company is moving along fast. Technology moving along fast? I mean, everything's moving fast these days. So, we kind of got to plan out some more things. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I've written up a few little things for you. But again, we do the Sunday call. Okay, there we go. You should be able to see that. We do the Sunday call to set the pace for your week. And there's a few reasons why we do that. Not just a matter of setting the pace for the week, but we really need to plan out our week. We need to figure out, there's somebody trying to get in, Bobby.
Oh, no problem.
We need to be able to plan out the week so that we are engaged all week. Because, particularly in the summer, one of the things, like Bobby said, we went to this pickleball tournament, but, yeah, we had to plan the clothes that we'd go out to eat at dinner, the clothes that we'd use, for other reasons, the plan for pickleball, the pickleball paddle, all that good stuff. But another part of us had a plan for our business. What did we need to take so that while we were gone for those 4 days, we could continue to do our business? And it's very important that one of the things, particularly as we are maybe, and this is the perfect business, love the freedom that we have, that we can, work when we want, work where we want, with who we want. I mean, it's truly, it's a blessing once you really get into it. But, you need to make plans to do that. You can't just leave your business. And too often we kind of go off and we forget about our business and we don't stay in touch with our business. So a lot of this is really how you're going to stay in touch with your business, other than just, hopefully coming across people and talking. Because, one of the things that happens, and I've seen it a lot with Bobby, is the more people you talk to, the better you get. There's no way around it. We just need to talk to people. And, like any other tool or skill that we're learning, we're not really good in the beginning. In fact, we stink. And so, this is a business where we can always get a do-over. It's so easy to tell somebody, look, I was brand new. I didn't quite know what I was saying. Maybe I was a little too excited. So we can always get a do-over, but we need to get into action. And so these are some of the places where, we're going to be able to get into action, to have the right mindset, because, our business, when you think about oxidative stress, as happy as I am to see it in many publications, many books that I read these days, many podcasts that I listen to, the average person has no idea what we're talking about. Yep. They don't know when we use the word activate, what we're talking about at all. And, we have to be very clear on that. So the more that you can listen to different people and kind of immerse yourself in this science and all the different things that are going on with our company, the easier time you will have. I can remember a time, when we first got in the industry, there were cassette tapes, if you can imagine still, with that we put in our car and we listened to again and again. And, we listened to them so much that at times you would say exactly what was on that cassette tape. And you're kind of like, well, who said that? That's not me. But that is the way that we learn, being kind of immersed in this different culture. So one of the things that maybe you're familiar with, maybe you're not, Facebook has a few sites, and we've gone through this, but you kind of need to schedule it sometime. There's probably things around the house that you do maybe every Tuesday. Maybe you bring out the garbage every Tuesday, or maybe you change the air conditioning filter on the first of the month, or whatever it is. But we need to be taking a peek into the the US LifeVantage Consultants Group, because they are putting more and more stuff there. So, if you want to know about the calls, like the end of the month calls and the beginning of the month calls, and any promos and things that are going on, this is a good place to be able to go so that you can see what's going on with your business from the company. We have Team Unity Wins training group. That's where this training will be posted afterwards. So should you have been on vacation today, not around, couldn't listen to it tonight, whatever the reason was, you can always catch up on it tomorrow in our Facebook group or our YouTube channel. It doesn't matter. You can go to either one of those, but that's where you can get, the recording of the training. Lifespan Matters. That's our social proof. That's proof that the products work, that we have truly, truly amazing products that do so many different things. So, don't get stuck in a collagen weight loss. We have so many different ways that we can help people. And obviously we're all not doctors. There may be a few doctors on here, but for the most part, we can point and we can actually tell people about these different posts in there, and, invite them into the group, let them mosey around and stuff. So don't forget to use these tools in your business, because One of the things that we need to be good at is dripping all the time when we talk to people. And you've heard me talk about that. These are ideal ways to get people to get more information with Lifespan Matters. Okay, so this is the next training, July 25th. It's going to be at 6 Mountain, which for us on East Coast is 8 o'clock. Again, it's going to be in the Facebook group for US LifeVantage consultants. These trainings typically are a half hour. That's about it. No more. Maybe they go for 35 minutes if we have a really talkative person, but it's also going to be on Zoom. That's the ID number. And again, I get this right out of the LifeVantage consultants Facebook group. So that's where all this is. There'll be another one on August 1st to start the month off. So if the company's running a special, you particularly between the 25th and the fact that they have the 25th, they are known to run specials between the 25th and the 30th. So I'm not sure what day of the week the 25th is. I guess it's towards the end of the week, maybe a Thursday or Friday, but maybe we don't have our call to Sunday. Well, you may be missing out on something really good, and we will try to always get it out there, but maybe they've got something coming down the pike because all the subscriptions have run. We don't know what's going on. So, but we have to stay in tune with our business. And again, just listen to whoever's doing the training and what they're talking about so that when we talk to people, all of a sudden you're saying things that maybe you weren't aware of or how to approach a person better. But like I said, and then the first starts the month off that way as well. Okay, I don't know how many of you know there's a podcast, Activation Nation. You want to know more about the products, you want to immerse yourself. I don't suggest you be a scientific guru of the products, but isn't it pretty cool knowing that we have so much science and we have the best products out there? I mean, nobody could challenge us. And what's cool about these podcasts is they point you into directions of which, you know, you can see the studies, you can find out what's going on with the different science and maybe hear something different that applies to that new person that you're talking to about a product or whatever. Maybe make you think of a person that you've known forever and all of a sudden, you know, they talk about something and you're like, oh my goodness, that could help that, or that does this or whatever. So Activation Nation is a podcast. If you're not familiar, just go to the front of your phone and where it has the search, you just put in podcast, up will come all the podcasts. You type in Activation Nation, and there's quite a few of them at this point. But again, sharing more information and these activities that, you know, a lot of times if you're driving here or there, you can just listen to them. I mean, you can get some great information, kind of dual, instead of just listening to some music that maybe you've heard a million times before. This way you're getting more information about your business. Again, because in the beginning with those cassette tapes, that's all we listened to. I really believe our oldest son has incredible people skills because he was at that time where he was like, I guess he was 4 or 5, maybe 6 years old when we first got involved in the business. And he listened to this stuff again and again and again and was just submersed in it. And, you know, he just has such great people skills, which has been an advantage to him because of this. Not necessarily the smartest person in the room or anything else like that, but great people skills listening to all those tapes. So, you know, all this is so important. Also, they have a blog. You know, if you care to read, you go to LifeVantage across the top and it says more. You click on that and you'll see there's a blog section as well. There's 3 different items there, but you can read more about our products, which are important if that's what you want to see, or you want to see the study, or you want to do a copy and paste to send it to somebody, and they want it in writing or whatever. Every once in a while, I get somebody who doesn't want a video, they want it in writing. So I go to the blog section and I'll, you know, copy and paste some stuff there. And that's right on the front of the LifeVantage website. Facebook Messenger, don't forget, we've been dropping stuff in Collagen Picks. You know, these Facebook groups that we have, Lifespan Matters, Team Unity Wins, Collagen Picks, these are all of ours. They're not just Bobby and mine. So, you know, if you see a great testimony, you see a video, you know, you want to put a new person in, everyone should be working to make these groups the best that they can be. But typically what you'll see there are before and afters. And why you might want to check it towards the beginning of the week, if another group is doing a Zoom, you know, we all are very generous with all our stuff. We open it up to everyone. If there's another group doing a Zoom, maybe they've got a special doctor speaking or whatever, that will be posted there too as soon as we see it. So always sharing stuff, trying to get information around but we have to do our part and look for it as well there. Okay, and then lastly, the big blue calendar occasionally gets updated. That's not as much. We've got hub.lifevantage.com. I don't know what else I was going to put there, but these are just ways that we can stay in touch with our business, because the worst thing we can do is really not plan our business and not be our own boss. We really need to kind of like be our own boss, hold our feet to the fire, make sure that it's a simple business, but it's not always easy. Make sure you're doing like 2 reach outs a day. This will keep you active through the summer. Like Bobby said, we haven't seen a difference with people not signing up, not getting started, not wanting to talk. None of that has gone on. You can make it an excuse if you want, but it's just an easy business. But we need to remember to spend a little time each day. And most of you, it's a little bit more complicated because you have something else you're doing. So maybe you have to be a little more proactive with scheduling in that time. Like, if you work all day 9 to 5, then you've got to say, well, either before work, which is what I used to do, I would look through, and I still do it before I go off to play tennis or anything. I kind of look at the day and kind of reorganize who I'm going to speak to, and always writing lists and stuff. Maybe you do it before work, maybe you do it after for the next day, but we have to be active, employing ourselves, because even those people that maybe don't get started for the summer, this is where you really have the avalanche, because you've been dripping on them through the summer. Come September, August, they're like, everyone wants to get started because it's such an exciting business. So those are just a few of the things that I wanted to remind you. I'm going to stop the share. I wanted to remind you, about our business and just employing ourselves and making sure that you're out there actively talking to people. And keep in mind, if you are new, it's a skill that we learn. I always know, Bobby and I hate when we go away for a week or 2 weeks, or some of these cruises. I'm not really always happy about that, because you get out of touch with people. I don't like being out of touch with people and not actively talking to people, because you can tell your skill just drops a little. So being around people, hearing all this information has been great. So hopefully that's a little tip where all the stuff is, how to get there, how to keep yourself immersed in the LifeVantage culture, because you'll have an easier time talking with some people. So back to you, Bobby.
Cool. Well, good stuff there, and I hope you're taking some notes with that. One of the beauties, as April was just going through that, of our business is that we don't need to be in a building, house, office, brick and mortar. We don't need to be anywhere, because we never go anywhere without our phone. Okay, but you have to be in the mindset where you accept the fact that there's an opportunity to do business anywhere and everywhere, and you need to plan on that. Like even though when we were in St. Louis for the 4 days, um, I still took time out to make phone calls from people that wanted to talk to me. I still have two new people starting next week that I talked to while we were in St. Louis. Okay, we were there to play and party and went to casinos and pickleball, and we did all that stuff, but business was moving right along with us. Okay, and it's got to be in the planning. Let me give you a different example. Those of you that know me know I'm a very, very dedicated sports fan. Okay, and I grew up in New York, so I root for New York teams. Okay, but here's where I'm at with that. Okay, it's a gross amount of time to be doing nothing watching a game. Okay, it's just insane to take 3 hours out to watch a game. So what do? I plan on working when the game is on, and I mute it. So it's on the TV. I can glance at it. I don't miss anything. They show replays, but I turn the volume off. I can't talk to them, and we can't communicate, so I don't need to hear it. You know what I mean? And right there is a 3 hour window that I can be producing in my business. And guess what? I still watch the game. Okay, I just didn't hear the commentators, and I don't like half the crap they have to say anyway. So what difference does it make? I just mute it, and I still get to see it live. Okay, so that's where I make time, okay, to build my business. I don't allow other things to get involved if there's business to be done. And right now, I'm hoping all of you are planning on going with us on the next trip they just announced in Mexico and Puerto Vallarta in December. We have 90 days to accumulate the points. I hope you're planning on going. We're going. Okay. If we have to personally sponsor if the team did nothing and we had to sponsor enough points to get the 90 points, we're going to do it one way or the other. Okay, that's our mentality. Now, is the team going to do a lot of business? Of course. Okay, but we have a mindset that we're going on the trip. Okay, that's the mindset. Have you made up your mind? Are you going on the trip? See, you can't get the points for the trip unless you decided you're going on the trip. Then you start working backwards and figure out, okay, here's where I can get 10 points. Here's where I can get 20. Here's where I can get another 20. You always work backwards. You got to see yourself there and on it and participating in it before you can get the points and go on it. And what do I mean by that? It's in your head. Okay, it's in your head. If you don't see yourself there, it's like, and we've talked about this a million times. We have a big conference coming up in October in Dallas. Okay, we've talked about it a million times. Okay, if you don't see yourself there hanging out in the Anatole Hotel and eating around there and doing fun things and that, you ain't going. Okay, you got to always see yourself there first. It's a mindset. Okay, that's the key to it. So, one of the things that I want to talk to you about tonight for the last maybe 10 minutes here is to me, okay, and you can argue this or debate this and maybe have a different opinion on this. That's fine. We all we're all entitled to our own opinions with stuff. But to me, okay, I believe, okay, that the most important skill, the most important art, okay, that you could ever develop in a business like this is the skill of inviting and sharing the tools. And guess what? In order to do that, you don't have to be an expert on the products. You don't have to be an expert on the compensation plan. You don't have to be an expert on anything. Okay? You can just enthusiastically share the information that is available, and the skill and the art of inviting is priceless. Okay? That is the if you only could have one skill in this business, you need to focus on learning how to invite people to look at the tools that you send them, that the business has available. And you've heard me joke about this that, in the old days, we needed to be the tool. And what do I mean by it? Each of us personally had to be the tool. Now we need to learn to use the tools. We don't have to be specially skilled on three-way calls. We don't need to be especially skilled in front of the room doing presentations. We don't, all of that is good and all of that helps. And yes, the people in front of the room generally make good money. There's truth to that. But in the old days, you had to be that person if you wanted to earn money in an industry like this. It was just a fact, okay? You had to do that. Now, you do not need to do that. If you can plug people into the tools, if you could learn to invite people to the events that come up, if the company's doing a special opportunity presentation or product training, and you know somebody that's looking to make money, or you know someone that's got some health issues, okay, inviting never gets old. It's a continuous activity that we do in this business. So a week from tomorrow, we have a big opportunity presentation and a big opportunity for you to invite. And that Zoom that we do a week from tomorrow on the 28th, that will hold 500 people. You cannot invite too many people. And most people's ratios for those, unless it's a close family member or somebody you're really, really close with, the ratio of people invited to the people that attend are about 1 out of 4. So if you want somebody on, you got to have at least 4 invited. If you want two on, you got to have at least 8 invited. And they don't mean to not show, they don't mean to be rude to you, they don't view it as lying to you. This is just mathematical odds of people, attending something they're invited to. It's very interesting. There's a lot of things out there that we can use mathematical probabilities. Okay. And it's funny, we were in a casino in St. Louis last night, and I had planned on playing craps. It's my favorite game. And you need a lot of money to play it because money goes up and down. And I didn't like their odds. They weren't true odds. And make a long story short, I just decided I didn't feel like playing. But we were going to be at the casino with our friends. We're going to eat dinner there. We're going to, do stuff. So I had never played roulette. So I'm looking at that, and they love to play it. This couple we were with, they just love to play it. So I'm looking, and I'm like, well, I don't get why I would put my money on one number when I can just bet red or black and just keep doubling up and switching colors every 3 or 4 times. And you say, well, why would you do that? I said, well, the odds of something happening 3 or 4 times in a row are slim and none. And if you just keep doubling up, and long story short, it didn't take long to turn $100 into $220, but it's boring. Okay. But I know the mathematical odds. And when it comes to inviting, you have to understand there's probability, there's mathematical odds, and it's about 1 out of 4. Now, could it be better than that? Yes. If you have spoken to somebody numerous times and they're excited to learn more and they've already watched some videos and stuff, yeah, you're going to have better luck with that person getting on the Zoom than if you just text them something and you just haven't talked to them 2 or 3 times. You just, it's how sales and marketing works. So the most important thing that we could do is master our skill at inviting. There's all kinds of things that we can invite people to, okay? But a big one that we should all participate in is when we do our once a month live opportunity presentation. It's always a Monday night. It's always 8:30 Eastern time, and you can adjust that to whatever time zone you're in. And it's always 30 minutes, 30, 32, 33 minutes. April does products on the first half. I talk money and business on the second half. Now, do we record them? Yes. Okay, we do record them, but people get more excited when they see that they are one of the Hollywood squares on the screen. When they see it live and they're in it, they react better to getting involved than just watching it all by themselves instead of being in it with 60, 80, 100 other people and they can see themselves. So it's another thing to keep in mind. Okay, yeah, we record them all. And when we get leads coming in from advertising or other things, we have to use the recording. Okay, it's you have to do it because they want to see it right away and they can't wait to the next live one. So let's dedicate ourselves, okay, to not only inviting people, but making sure that we confirm them, okay, when they, when we show it to them, we confirm, we talk to them a couple other times before the event actually takes place. Now, we always have when we're doing the presentation or the live opportunity meeting, there's always that invite. Let me just go back to that for a second. guess don't want to go backwards for me. The picture that had me and April in the picture, inviting them, there's always that, but you should always send a text that has the live link in it too. Where, and we don't use, we don't use a password so they don't get locked out there, but we do have to turn off the chat so people don't misbehave in the chat. Okay. So there's two ways when you're inviting someone, you need to make sure the day of the event, when you're confirming that you're looking forward to seeing them on Zoom later that day, that they get the live link. Okay. And the other thing I want to share with you tonight is in regards to people say, how do I learn how to invite? How do you learn how to hit a baseball? How do you learn how to hit a tennis ball? You practice. Okay. And April used a word earlier that I love. You get as many do-overs as you want. Okay. It's never over until you say it's over. Okay. But here's some things that will help you open the door to approach them with sharing one of our tools. Okay. Or inviting them to watch a Zoom, inviting them to watch, a video. These are some things that you really need to kind of learn to say and get used to. You got to learn how to pique someone's interest. If you're talking to someone you probably know some things about them and you want to pique their interest, okay? One of the things that we all use in this industry when we're talking to someone is would you be open to? Well, open to what? Well, what are you trying to get them to do? Open to watching a video and learning more, open to checking out what our products do, open to watching a Zoom with you later that evening. But would you be, people don't like to say, no, I'm closed-minded, leave me alone. They don't like to do that. Most people believe they're fairly open to things and open-minded. That's a good line. Okay. If you know the person personally, then you probably know some issues that they're dealing with. And, or if you get into a conversation with someone, you don't even have to know them that well. And they could be complaining about money, about no time freedom, about something hurts or they're ill or anything. You can always say, I might have a solution for that. I've heard April say this a million times. Okay. Tara Wilson, one of our dear friends in the business, she always says, who do you know or do you know anyone? Always. Who do you know or do you know anyone who, well, who what? Would like to benefit from these products? Would like to have another stream of income? Would like to have a backup plan should something ever happen? When people when people start wondering, is this multi-level marketing? Is this network marketing? Is this one of those things? I always just say, I don't assume it's negative. I don't assume when they say that they mean something negative. And April's talked about this many times, but I always say, have you ever been involved? Okay. Or do you have any experience with? See, these are things that get people talking and opens the door for you to invite or share something with them. Okay. When we're talking about sharing, how readily available do you have the key tools? Like when we were in St. Louis and we had to send something to somebody, everything's right on my phone. Click, 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 and they have what I wanted to send them. Whether I go get it from a YouTube channel, whether I can't get it on Facebook, whether I go to, I text things to myself, whatever it is, I can do it. I can be sitting in the back seat of the car. We could be on our way to a match and something needs to come in. I don't need my computer. I don't need my notes. Everything's there on my phone. I go click, 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 and they have whatever video or replay or information that I use. And I always use the same stuff. It's not like, every once in a while I might update something that I send. Like if we do, like when we do the opportunity on July 28th, I will begin sending that one from that point on because why send one from last month when I have one that's one day old? Okay, so I'll send that. But here's something that's really crucial, and I'll close with this and we'll go back to full screen. When you find your favorites, okay, how do you get your favorites? Well, number one, you've watched them and they moved you, okay? Always have your favorite video, your favorite website, your favorite link, your favorite stack of products, your favorite enrollment pack. Always have that readily available, either in your own personal text thread or in notes or somewhere, okay? Where when you need it, you know where it is. You don't have to go looking for it. And I'll tell you, if there's only one skill that you learn, if you learn how to ask these kind of questions and get good at inviting and sharing the wonderful tools, the wonderful before and after pictures that come with this business and are always being updated, if you just learn how to do that, someone will always get on the phone and do a three-way call if you need it. Someone will always be available to validate the information that you're sharing. So don't worry about being the tool, worry about being good with sharing the tools. So let me stop the share on that. And so does that make sense, folks? Like, can you nod or agree or say hi or whatever? Does that make sense? Is there anything in that that's like rocket science? See, we don't have to make the tools, they're there. We just have to learn to use them with as many people as we possibly can. And once you get good with sharing it with one or two people a day, try four or five people a day. Once you get good with four or five people a day, try five or 10 people a day. All you're doing is filling up your funnel. All you're doing is protecting your turf. All you're doing is letting the world know what you have, because until you let them know what you have, they don't know what they don't know. And it's our job to let them know. As funny as that sounds, it's just the truth. They don't know unless we let them know. And I'll tell you, I hope it never happens to you, but it's very painful if it ever does. Somebody that you would really like to have in your business signs up with somebody else, either in this business or in a similar business. And the only reason they did that is because you never told them what you were doing. And someone else approached them with something else. And they did it with them because you never bothered to let them know what you were doing. So that's, it is a numbers game, folks. It's a numbers game and it's a timing thing. See, I want to let someone know what I'm doing, even if they're not ready now. Because if something goes south on them 3 months from now, I want them to think about calling me and not getting involved with something else. Why would they think of calling me? Because I let them know what I was doing. And even though they didn't have an interest when I first told them, down the road, they're going to remember that, Bobby was doing something cool, but I was real busy at the time. Maybe I should check back with him and see get some more details on that. And that's what you want people to think. You're planting seeds. That's the nature of what you're doing. So, anyway, sorry to go a few minutes over. We did have a lot of information. We normally try and keep it closer to 30 minutes. But, April, anything to add or just open
No,
it up?
that's
Or
all great information. We just get better by doing.
if you guys got any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask them, or you can put it in the chat, or you can always just text or call us personally, and we're happy to go from there. But I hope you're calculating the look to be on the trip. Okay, it's July, August, and September are where we have to get the points. To get 90 points, we have to average 30 a month. To get 30 in a month, you got to look at what you need to do between you and your team to get the 30 points. Okay, and it's right there on your website. You just scroll down and it shows you how many points happen for everything that goes on. Okay, so that's way, and then you want to break it down again, it's 30 points a month. So what is that? A point a day. It's a 90-day contest. You need 90 points. You think that was an accident? No, it was set up to plan on getting a point a day. That's all it is. And sometimes you get two, three, or five, sometimes you don't get any, but it just averages out to 1 point a day. That's all it is. Anyone got any questions or comments or you good, Fred? Cool. Well, look, any questions, just reach out direct to us. Obviously, we'll be on next Sunday night. We'll remind everyone because the next night will be the opportunity presentation. So it's a week from tomorrow. And that's, you get good by practicing. In the beginning, you kind of stink. Then you get kind of better. Then you get really good and your ratio gets better and better. What I mean by ratio, the number of people you need to talk to in order to get a customer or consultant, that number gets smaller and smaller and smaller because your skills get better and better and better. That's all it is. Like a batting average in baseball. Okay. The more you practice, the higher your average. It works the same way. So anyway, we appreciate your time. We are looking forward to having a big end of the month. We got 11 days left in the month, and anything we can do to answer questions in the meantime, just reach out. Good night, everybody. It was great seeing you. Have a great day. A good evening, I should say. Bye.